Good evening, everyone. Just so you know, if you're tuning in or you're watching this later, why I'm sitting here for seconds on end. In the old version of Facebook, when I pressed the live button, it would say 3, 2, 1 on my screen, and then in the top corner, I would see when I'm live. In the new version, there's no 3, 2, 1, and there's just this little pinwheel on the side that circles and circles and circles, and then all of a sudden the numbers pop up, but I'm a few seconds in already. I have no idea when it's actually starting. So I sit here and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know when I'm live. Anyway, hope you're well. Hope you had a good day today. Hot one, a little bit of rain. Man, I'm looking forward. I know it's a weird thing to say, but I'm looking forward to some days of rain here. The ground is dry, and we sure do need it. And so, um, and hopefully, it cools things off a little bit as well. Before we get going, just a reminder, we're planning to do church outside this week. I shot a video yesterday and put it on Facebook. It's also now on the church website, right on the front page of what that looks like for us. Go ahead and watch that. But we're hoping to do church outside up near the pavilion at 10 a.m. If it does rain, which right now it's still scheduled to rain on Sunday, if it does, we'll try to put word out as quickly as we can, either Saturday evening or early Sunday morning, with that decision. And we'll just be back inside like we have the last couple weeks. But our goal, probably for the rest of the summer, unless state regulations change, our goal is to be outside as much as we can and do worship out there, however we can do that. So hope you can join us on Sunday. As of right now, I'm planning to do music Saturday night as well, so you can tune in for that if that is something you'd like. So today we're going to be looking at the book of Mark, and just a couple things here in the book of Mark. Two different passages in Mark. So we're going to start with Mark chapter 1, starting with verse 16. As Jesus walked beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and his brother Andrew casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. Come follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. At once they left their nets and followed him. Then when he had gone a little farther, he saw James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John in a boat preparing their nets. Without delay, he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired men and followed him. Now we're going to jump from there over to Mark chapter 2. Mark chapter 2, starting with verse 13. Once again, Jesus went out beside the lake. A large crowd came to him and began to teach them. And as he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax collector's booth. Follow me, Jesus told him. And Levi got up and followed him. So we have three separate incidents of Jesus calling people, Jesus calling disciples. And I could go a long time about the cost um, of being a disciple of Jesus and what that means for us. I just want to point out a couple quick things to you about these three distinct stories. Oftentimes we read them, particularly both of the fishermen stories, we read them as the same story, and they are the same story, but the significance of them are different, each of them. And then and so let's just take them one at a time real quick, okay? So the first one, Jesus is walking along, he's beside the Sea of Galilee, and he sees Simon and Andrew there, and they're casting their nets, they're doing their job. And he says to them, come follow me, I will make you, I know it as, I will make you fishers men, right? I will change your calling to fish for people. Um, they leave their nets and they follow him. So in this incidents, either one, I think. Um, they are leaving. Uh, they are leaving the life of money, of their livelihood, to pursue a spiritual livelihood. They're changing their focus completely. Um, and notice that he doesn't offer them anything. Um, Nowadays, if you're going to look for a job, or if you're going to do something for somebody, usually they try to entice you with something, and it could be something small like, hey, if you come help me with this project, I'll give you whatever. We I'll give you dinner. I'll if you help me move, I'll have food for you and whatever, right? There's some enticing that goes on, and there's no enticing. He just says, "Come follow me, and I'm going to totally change your life. Your life, your livelihood, your profession is going to change from a life of making money to a spiritual life." And that is the change of discipleship in Jesus. That our focus is no longer on um, the money making, but on our spiritual life. That's the first priority. Is our spiritual life takes precedent over all else. And then he goes a little bit further and he sees James and John, son of Zebedee. Um, Notice that they're going to leave their father. They're leaving family. That's the big point here. But right after that, it says that they had hired men with them. That means they had money. You don't just have hired men working for you, particularly as fishermen, if you don't have money. So they were from family of wealth as well. Maybe not extreme wealth, but they had means. And Jesus says, "Leave your family behind. Come and follow me." Um, I'm going to say something, and we can talk about it later. But uh, it is possible to prioritize your family in the wrong place. Um, Oftentimes we hear family should be first, right? A you could see that as a picture on Facebook, and everybody would like it. Everybody would like put a little heart. Yeah, family comes first. The reality is that's not true. Um, God is first. My relationship with Jesus is first. It That's first, and then my wife, and then my children, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be a sermon later on, I think, how we prioritize things. But it is possible to put your priorities in the wrong order. And oftentimes, as important as my family is to me, as important as my boys are to me and my wife, obviously, it's possible to put them in the place of God. And that's not a place they're supposed to be. It's an unhealthy place for them and for me. My reliance on them is totally changed if I put them in God's place and I prioritize them first. And then moving over to um, where he calls Levi. He sees Levi, the tax collector, and he says, "Come, follow me," and he does. So this tax is different. This isn't the door-to-door tax. This is a booth that he had, and he would have placed it somewhere important. And because he's along the lake, he's probably there waiting. He's probably waiting for either the fishermen or for people coming by, and he's taxing their income there. This was lucrative for him, and people didn't like him, and Jesus changes his life. He changes his career is now null and void. A lot like the first fisherman of Peter and Simon, or Simon and Andrew, sorry, changing his career path completely. If we're really honest, being Jesus' disciple isn't really hard for us. Not many of us have given up much to follow Jesus. My friend Rick has gone to India a few times to do ministry stuff, and he says that oftentimes in India, you have to, people that are coming to faith will literally have to leave their families because their families won't accept them anymore because of their faith in Jesus Christ. Not many of us have experienced that kind of discipleship following. And yet, that's what Jesus calls us to. That our priorities would be such that we would follow. That our obedience would be to him. I'm going to pray for us. I hope and I pray that we are reminded of our priorities, that we are reminded of the cost of being a disciple of Jesus and what that should mean and how it should change our time and our livelihood and the way we spend our money, etc., etc., etc. God, I thank you for today. I thank you for some rain this afternoon. I thank you for the breeze that's outside of my porch right now, um, that it's starting to cool off a little bit. I thank you for you. I thank you that you sent your son. God, I pray that we would be reminded tonight of the cost of being a disciple of yours, that we would follow, maybe in a new way tonight, that we would reprioritize some things where it's been out of line and out of whack, that you would remind us of your calling, remind us of what it looks like to be a follower of you. Show us the path that we would walk on to be your followers. We ask this in your name. Amen. All right, friends. Music Saturday night, if you want to tune in for that. Sunday morning, hopefully outside if it's not raining. Otherwise, we'll be inside. Facebook Live will be up, and then we'll get that on the website. Many blessings to you. Make sure you wash your hands and wear a mask. Good night.